Yes, folks, driverless cars will be the ultimate form of government control. Now, think about this for a moment. The car you are presently driving gives you autonomy and it gives you the freedom to go wherever you want, whenever you want. Now, are you prepared to hand over your freedom to controlling type governments like we have in New Zealand at present, or any other government for that matter? Well, that's exactly what will happen if we allow driverless cars to get a foothold. Your autonomy will be gone. Your very being will be lost. Have a look. And now, folks, I've posted a link to this article in the description below. Driverless cars could offer governments new forms of control. And I'll just scroll down to the interesting bits. There's a reason why governments are so keen on driverless cars. And it's not just because of the potential economic benefits, they also offer the chance for even greater tracking and greater control of every citizen's whereabouts. Far from setting us free, driverless cars threaten to help enable new forms of surveillance and oppression. A driverless car is a computer on wheels. Yes, and whoever controls the computer controls you. The ultimate internet-connected mobile device. Bristling with sensors, it provides a constant two-way flow of information. The car sends information about its performance to the manufacturer. It receives software updates and control signals about adjustments to its behaviour. The manufacturer, in turn, knows where the car is, what the road conditions and temperatures are, and how the vehicle is performing at a particular speed. The car's insurer may receive minute-by-minute information about the vehicle's state, location, speed, and the condition of the road it's on to vary the insurance accordingly. It could even give a 10-minute warning of loss of cover and halt the car. Meanwhile, government databases will also be likely to know where the car is, whether it is meant to be there, and where it's going. And even using predictive analytics, where it will go for its next journey. For more than 130 years, cars have represented ultimate autonomy, individuality, and democratic freedom. Our car trips are private and anonymous. We can go where we like and when we like. We don't have to tell anybody. And we retain responsibility for whether we obey the law. Driverless cars will bring all of that to an end. Now, manufacturers, governments, and city authorities will know where we're going, what we're doing, and when we are doing it. If anyone doesn't like what we're doing, they will be able to stop us, withdraw technical and accident cover, stop us using particular roads or streets, or just shut us down completely. It won't be the driver that's autonomous, but the authorities and systems that run and maintain their car. In the rhetoric of making us safer and reducing risk, power will be taken away and given to central authorities, whether they are cities, governments or commissions. Now the controllers can simply change our route for their own purposes, whether to prevent traffic jams or to clear a route for a dignitary. To render us safe, governments will leave us powerless. In a democratic state, the growing flow of personalised information towards centralised authority will provide the basis for regulation and enforcement. Its citizens will be the target of behavioural nudges and advertising flowing into the driverless car. In a dictatorial state, much the same as what we have in New Zealand at present, the authorities can stop you going to a demonstration or stop you going to church. And such centrally managed systems, which will be essential for the safety of driverless cars, are not only open to the inevitable technology failures of complex systems, but also to hacking and attacks by other states and individuals. Why hack into one car when you can hack into a whole city system and bring traffic to a halt, or crash 30,000 cars into each other? Now, folks, I can imagine radical greenies doing just that. Yeah, now for some obvious safety problems with driverless cars.
Computers are getting better at recognizing objects though, and you're helping. Whether you're playing Google Quick Draw or doing one of those new CAPTCHA images where you select all the squares with a stop sign, you're teaching computers how to see. You're helping our future machine overlords recognize objects. However, even with all of this learning, it still has to match what it sees with a previously learned template. It's not like you able to figure out what new objects are and what they mean on the fly. For example, say you come across this sign. It might only take you a second or two to skim over it and realize that it doesn't apply to you and continue driving. But a computer? The first thing it will recognize is the shape. It sure looks like a stop sign. It's red and white, just like a stop sign. It has a little more to it than a stop sign, but just to be sure, I better stop in the middle of this street. That could cause an issue. Or perhaps this situation. Clearly that's a stop sign, but it's covered with a trash bag. Whatever internet traffic uplink it's using says that there should be a stop sign here, and there it is. But it's partially covered with a trash bag. Again, you can look at this situation and quickly figure it out. You're supposed to follow the temporary green light and ignore the stop sign. But a computer, especially one that's never encountered this before, won't be able to react as easily. Say the temporary light wasn't there. Is a trash bag and some duct tape all it takes to fool a self-driving car into just flying through the intersection? If so, you're gonna see a lot more teenage pranks and YouTube videos like this show up. And what about this detour sign? Your GPS says that you should go straight. You might know that you can safely go straight, but a computer sees this sign saying it must go right. Maybe there's an obstruction ahead? These are all things that you can quickly figure out, but a computer has to obey a set of rules. And
Fast forward a bit.
situations that driverless cars will be forced to make decisions on, and they're incredibly tough decisions. Not to mention the fact that I've only given you a handful of the literal infinite amount of possible situations. I certainly don't want to be the one writing moral and ethical codes for driverless cars, but someone has to, especially if we ever want intersections that look like this, where there are no traffic lights, all the cars are driverless and are simply communicating with each other with hyper efficiency. And it's absolutely impossible. First of all, it requires that every single car on the road be self-driving. If there's even one manually driven car, game over. Which if people can break the law in order to save themselves some time, they will. But let's go back to this intersection and assume that all cars will always be self-driving with no possible manual override. This intersection is a disaster waiting to happen. Let's completely set aside the idea that anyone would ever go to this intersection with malicious intent, even though those people have always and will always exist, and we'll assume that all of these cars are completely unhackable. Again, we're assuming perfect conditions. Imagine a tree branch falls in this intersection, or a tire blows out, or a truck's unsecure cargo falls off. You're looking at a several car pileup, even
Yes, folks, can you imagine driverless cars on some New Zealand roads? From Thames to Coromandel, for example? None would get there. But the bigger problem, I think, is government control.